Well, it's great to be here with you today. As you know, for the past day and a half, we've been really hearing about some of the challenges that face our children. And I've become increasingly passionate about their health and their well-being and their future. Obviously, diabetes and obesity are off the chain. I come from a city, the home of Coca-Cola and the home of CNN, where we have the highest rates of obesity in the United States. 1 in 3 kids are overweight or obese. And there's a disconnect between our kids and nature, which is truly important for them to understand the importance of their life support system, which includes healthy soil and healthy food. So at the Captain Planet Foundation, okay, so you have that. We started 25 years ago because a real live Captain Planet in my life, I know him as Captain Planet, you know him as Ted Turner. He had this vision. I mean, he was known best for putting vision back into television with the advent of 24/7 news. He also dreamt up the idea of 24/7 cartoons. And he knew how important it was really to reach out to children and try to edutain them. And he thought that it was important for kids to understand issues of global importance, social issues, and environmental issues. So he dreamt up this eco-superhero that was featured around the world in 100 countries in 23 different languages that really taught kids about environmental and social stewardship. He also launched a foundation 25 years ago that made grants to educators for hands-on environmental stewardship projects and project-based learning. So anything from testing and monitoring water in their schoolyards or their backyards or their communities, to starting recycling programs, to restoring native habitat for endangered species. The list goes on and on, but guess what the #1 grant request was? School gardens. So over the years, we have really figured out what has worked and what hasn't worked, and we did a formal assessment. And what we found out is a lot of our grant making went to nothing because due to high teacher turnover and the gardens being tied to one passionate teacher or passionate parents who left whose children aged out, or the fact that it was an after-school activity or program made it very easy for gardens to go fallow. So we decided we were going to take a look at the best practices and also innovate where need be. So we came up with 5 pillars for an edible school garden. We wanted to really start simple to make sure that we had, obviously we supplied the schools with beds. We did not want to do production gardens because it's just too much for a school to take on. You know, Alice Waters wants to, has a very, she's very persnickety about her school gardens, and they have to start out as production gardens. But we want to make it easy for teachers to get their kids out into an outdoor classroom situation. We also provide pollinator gardens. So we provide the beds, we provide the pollinator gardens because, as you know, we're having a global crisis with the decline in pollinators, and kids need to understand how pollination is tied to the production of their food. The Chinese now, in some parts of China, are actually hand pollinating. Can you imagine what that would do to the price of food if we had to start going to hand pollination? And kids are just in awe and in wonder when they study the life cycle of pollinators. So we thought, how can we move the teachers and the kids into the school gardens during the instructional part of the day? So every teacher and every child is out planting and harvesting and eating the food that they grow. that the only way we could do that was curate and develop a curriculum, standards-based, so the teachers could teach all subjects in the context of the garden. So math, science, social studies, history, health and nutrition. And then we have open sourced that for any teacher with a garden at any school anywhere, so that they can implement that in their own schools. And the great thing about, really teaching these kids about what it is that they're growing and tie it to the courses that they are studying is that they learn better that way. We know project-based learning is the way to go. We also want to make it super easy for teachers, as I said before. We want to train them about how to teach the lessons before they get to school with their classes, because we know that a lot of teachers don't want to wait until they're back at school. So we pay stipends for teachers to come to trainings. And it's just, it works beautifully well. And then we also supply all the materials that they need to teach those lessons in the context of the garden. And another factor that is rampant today is teachers are afraid to take their classes into the out of doors because of liability. What happens if Johnny falls off a log, or Susie gets stung by a bee? So they have to get comfortable with managing their classes in the out of doors, and we have addressed that. My favorite overlay is the mobile kitchen cart. So we've been saying that, people have forgotten how to buy fresh foods, but they've also forgotten how to prepare them. So what we do is we give them everything that they need on a mobile kitchen cart, which can be used by the whole school, and then provide celebrity chefs, nutritional students, teachers, parents to come in and do instruction. And actually the kids are so excited because they raise the food in their school garden, and then it's prepared, cooked and tasted right there in the classroom. Another key component, maintenance and operations hate summer gardens because there's a lot of fruits and vegetables that grow in the summer, and if there's nobody to maintain it, they would just rather pave it over or mow it down to keep from attracting rodents, and it's just an eyesore. So we have hired young urban certified growers and have paid them their first wages for a job career track that they are considering going with. This crew right here maintained 65 school gardens for the past 2 summers, and they harvested 2,000 pounds of organic vegetables and fruits, and that turns out to be 8,000 servings, man-sized servings of fruits and vegetables, which the kids know that they're planting for the hungry, for the low income in their midst, and it goes to the food banks and then is taken from there. So, kids love to eat the fruits and vegetables that they grow. They can barely wait to knock the dirt off of them before they're shoving them into their mouths, and they get super excited when they learn about how to cook the food and prepare it, and they take all these ideas home to their family, their parents and grandparents, and teach them what to do as well. There are 112,000 school gardens in America, and only 10% are estimated to have gardens at all. And what that says is that there is a huge opportunity, and every school should have a garden. Every child should be planting in a garden and connect up with their life support system, their air, their water, the health of their soil, and their own health and nutrition. And Learning Garden is an easy way to do it. The great Michael Pollan, who just spoke, I heard him admit that he and his wife fed their son macaroni and cheese basically 3 times a day because it was so stressful to get their child to eat vegetables. And as a mother of 3, I know that to be true. But when kids learn from their peers how to eat fruits and vegetables, it's socially patterned, then they're much more likely to try them and develop lifelong great eating habits. And then one other thing is that Sam Cass and Kimball Musk and Jamie Oliver are doing great work in this space, and it's going to take every organization and everyone that's passionate about this to make school gardens not only happen in the United States, but around the world. And if you want to know more about our Project Learning Garden program and our 5 pillars, please reach out, CaptainPlanetFoundation.org or Laura at lauraseydel.com. Thank you so much for listening.